This is the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. Thanks for listening, watching, wherever you might be. I'm Ty Higgins. The Ohio Farm Bureau Health Benefits Plan provides access to affordable and convenient health care for more than 630 agricultural businesses throughout the state. Today, happy to welcome back Craig Pullman, a Northwest Ohio farmer and sole proprietor who farms in Van Wert County, talking specifically about how the health benefits plan has been impactful to him as a sole proprietor. Craig, great to have you back on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Great to be here again, Ty.
So obviously you're busy sitting there in the cab of your truck as we're in the middle of spring planting season. Tell us first of all about your operation and how things are going so far this year for you.
Yeah, so I have a family grain farm here. Dad moved out this way from the Delphus area. I'm out in Venedocia, a small town, late 70s. And so I grew up here, took over the farm about 12, 13 years ago. Dad started slowing down. He's still here every day when he's not on vacation or in Florida. So still the family aspect here. And just all cash grain, like I said. We haven't got to doing much of anything yet this spring. It's raining outside on my truck right now, but we will get there. It'll come around. It usually always does. So
The rainy days during planting season and harvest season, a chance to really maybe look at the bottom line a little bit. You think about input costs this time of year in particular. Healthcare, obviously one of those costs year round. How much does healthcare costs impact the bottom line of your farm, and how challenging is it to manage that aspect when you're also trying to run an operation there?
I guess it's just built in. I think most of us in farming have gotten so used to all of those ebbs and flows of prices and fluctuations. But as much as that price increase has happened in the last decade or whatever time frame you want to choose, because it's gone up for a while now. Besides the price, though, I think just the peace of mind of knowing you have some protection on the back end if something, God forbid, happens to you or any of your family or anything like that, especially around the farm where there are a few more dangerous things around. So I think the peace of mind is probably almost bigger than the bottom line on the farm side for me.
You mentioned the cost. Obviously, that's going to be important when people shop around for a health benefits plan. They're also wanting to make sure they can see their regular doctors and go to their regular hospitals. Were all of your preferred doctors and hospitals part of the Ohio Farm Bureau Health Benefits Plan?
Yeah, that was actually one of the most exciting things when we were looking at different places, when we found the health benefits plan. We'd been struggling through my wife's insurance coverage through her work to keep the doctors we had. And I live over by the Indiana state line. So when you cross the state line, some weird things happen with insurance too. So to just see the overall network and the availability of everywhere we normally go and some of those emergency places we haven't been to, but you always want to double check to make sure they are in your network, because that can change so many things in those situations. You don't have to worry about it in the emergency. So to have been able to find a network that's covering that many places has been great.
Are there certain features or benefits that appeal to you most with the health benefits plan?
Um, Luckily, I guess we haven't had to use it a whole lot since I've been a member of it. But I think probably the biggest thing I've said many times, you've heard me say it before, being able to take ownership of my own insurance. So I'm finding it, I'm choosing my plan, I'm paying for it, it is mine, all mine. And I just being able to bring that back in house, and I guess farmers are somewhat independent sometimes, so maybe that's why that feels better to me. Is just that's probably the biggest benefit, is being able to own it and it's mine and I know what I'm doing and I'm making the choices.
I think one of the biggest changes in healthcare over the past 4 years is the virtual aspect. A lot of people are doing things online, visiting with their doctors, and getting prescriptions, things of that nature. The Sydney app is part of the Ohio Farm Bureau Health Benefits Plan. Have you had a chance to use that Sydney app and any of the virtual options that are included with HBP?
So I'm not tech savvy, as most people know. I have not gone down that road yet. I've chatted with a few other people that are in the health benefits plan, and they said it has been a great addition for them on their operations, especially some people with some employees. That just ease of use. They don't have to go to an appointment. I guess, a little old school yet. I still like to go and shake the hand of the guy that's going to take a look at me. So I have not had the opportunity, but I have heard good things about it.
You know, I mentioned at the top you're a sole proprietor, and I mentioned that for a particular reason. We used to have a limit on how many sole proprietors we could bring onto the Ohio Farm Bureau Health Benefits Plan. That limit is no more. We can bring on as many sole proprietors across the state as we want. So, what would you tell other sole proprietors and any members or listeners here to the podcast that maybe haven't investigated the Ohio Farm Bureau Health Benefits Plan yet for their business and maybe looking for an alternative right now?
I think just taking the time to investigate it. I think there's a lot of people that don't know it exists yet, which I think that's why a lot of people had always found a way to get their spouse to work or whatever they had to do to find coverage. So having this available option, and like you said, we no longer have to kind of slowly walk into it because we can take any sole proprietor that wants to come in. I think if you're already on it, maybe talking to your friends and neighbors about it, and if you're not on it, be open to the conversation. It may not work for everyone, obviously, but it has been a great path for us, and I think it might be a good answer for a lot of those operations that are struggling with where to find their health insurance.
All the information you need about the Ohio Farm Bureau Health Benefits Plan can be found in one place online at ofbhealthbenefitsplan.org. That's ofbhealthbenefitsplan.org. Craig Pullman sitting in his truck there in the rain, waiting for the green light again for planting season there in Northwest Ohio. Appreciate your time and thanks for the insights.
Thanks, Ty.
Sometimes out here, you have to speak loudly.
Our voice alone may not have as much impact as we would like, but my voice
can be heard and influential through membership in Ohio Farm Bureau.
My voice, along with tens of thousands of Ohioans,
makes a difference when it comes to legislation, regulation, or litigation that can be positive or potentially harmful to those of us in the agriculture community.
Become a member today at ohiofarmbureau.org.
Because there is strength and members.
Find out how Nationwide Agribusiness can help you grow your business. Get to know the people with the experience and knowledge to help you. Whether you are looking to protect your farm or ranch from the ground up, or need someone who understands your changing commercial ag needs. Find out how to better manage the risks of your ag business, or how quickly you can get back to business. Learn how you can protect your next with Nationwide on your side.
Welcome back to the Ohio Farm Bureau podcast. This year, the 4R Nutrient Stewardship Certification Program marks a significant milestone, 10 years of commitment to improving water quality and advancing sustainable ag practices in Ohio and beyond. Aaron Heilers joins us. He's Executive Director of the 4R Nutrient Stewardship Certification Program. Aaron, great to see you. Welcome to the podcast.
Good to be with you, Ty. Thanks for having me on.
Tell us more about the program and why it was developed 10 years ago.
So the program was actually started to be developed in about 2011, 12 timeframe. Back then, it's hard to believe it's been that many years ago, but that was when the Lake Erie algal blooms really started to come to the forefront and catch the attention of policymakers. And so at that time, the governor had got together a task force to look at what we could do broadly around the algal bloom issue in Lake Erie. And the ag community came together, specifically ag retailers, and said, hey, we need to be on the leading edge of this. What can we do with what, our part of the issue may be? And so they worked together with, people in extension, people in government, the environmental groups, kind of got a good group together to say, let's look at a program that we can develop to help mitigate our side of this issue. So that's where the really came together about 2011, 2012.
A lot of individual farmers across Northwest Ohio and now Ohio with H2 Ohio doing some great water quality efforts. But when you work with ag retailers, you cover a lot of ground in a little bit of time, and that's where the 4R program has been very successful. What have some of those achievements been over the last 10 years?
So, started from scratch, right? Started with zero retailers certified, and the program has grown incrementally to about 56 retailers. And I say about because some do come and go, but that number has stabilized over the last couple of years here. And that number of ag retailers certified covers not only the Western Lake Erie Basin here in Ohio, we do cover a portion of Michigan's Western Lake Erie Basin watershed. And then the rest of Ohio is eligible to participate as well. So that 56 number covers that entire territory. That's about 2.5 million acres total that are under certification. The program has has definitely grown, not only in the number of retailers, but also it's developed in what we cover and require of the retailers, and to make them, I guess, for lack of a better word, prove what they're doing out on the landscape.
Yeah, for Northwest Ohio and for Lake Erie and the issues we're seeing there, phosphorus is one of the main contributors to those algal blooms in Northwest Ohio. Agriculture, of course, taking our fair share of that responsibility. The 4R program, though, when it comes to phosphorus reduction load into the lake, it all starts right there with what's happening on the field, and we're seeing that reduction happen there at the farm level as well.
Yeah, and we can't take any credit from the 4R program of specific 4R or specific phosphorus reductions. We're part of a bigger, the bigger solution out there with now H2 Ohio, the demonstration farm project, that I was a part of a couple years ago that's still ongoing. All the other efforts that Soil and Water and NRCS are doing out on the landscape with farmers, that entire package has helped to show a reduction in phosphorus that's actually in the soil. So farmers are applying less. The soil test readings on phosphorus are coming down. And so we hope that shows up in the water quality at the lake. But that, as you know, that's a longer horizon to see that result show up.
What you've done there with the 4R program here in Ohio has been a blueprint for other states and really across the globe. Talk about the expansion of this idea that started right here in Ohio.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, the Ohio ag retailers got together. There was too many to name individually, so I don't want to leave anybody out. But when that group got together, there was nothing else going on in this space. The 4R concept came out of the Fertilizer Institute. There's a gentleman there that developed that concept, and so they said this is a good framework to start with, but we have to develop the program, the requirements, the audit procedure. I mean, the whole thing. And so my predecessor, Andrew Allman, Mark Fritz, Chris Henney at the Ohio Agribusiness Association, that core group, along with everybody else that I mentioned earlier, they really hammered this thing out. And so once that was built, and it's not perfect, it continues to evolve, even 10 years in. That framework then was taken to other states that had the same issues and the same interest of how can we in the ag community show our commitment to water quality. And so it's expanded now to 6 other states, and then the province of Ontario has also adopted it. And the way the program is built is each state, in the case of Ontario, they can tweak it how they need it to, whatever agriculture they have in their state. Ohio is predominantly corn and soybeans. We're going to base it around NP and K. If we're in Florida, for instance, they have different crops, different soils, different rain patterns, a lot of different things in here. And so they've tweaked their program to make it fit their needs. So it is amazing to see how the program has grown over the last 10 years.
A lot of success, a lot of growth over the last decade. When you look forward, though, to the next 10 years, what does the 4R program look like in your eyes?
So we have to evolve. And that's when I came on a couple years ago, that was my main task, was to look out into the future to see how we can keep the program strong, and to keep it in the forefront of people's minds. That's 10 years in, it kind of has fallen off because the algal bloom issue hasn't been front and center. We had a lot of other issues over the last couple of years that has taken people's minds off of it, off of water quality specifically. And that's a good thing because we haven't had those major algal blooms where it catches the headlines. But the ag community has been out there continuing to beat to this same drum of doing the right thing. And so how do we continue the strong program that we have, but also tweak it as H2 Ohio has come onto the scene? H2 Ohio comes with dollars to provide to farmers. And so that's a game changer as well. And so we're looking at ways that we can partner with them to be a part of their program to make our audit procedure more seamless for both the retailers and the auditors. given what H2 Ohio is trying to accomplish with their online My Farms platform. And so looking at ways that we can integrate the two together so that it makes sense to continue to get more retailers certified. We know that there's a lot more out there that we just need to make a connection with, especially in the Ohio River watershed, where, again, the nutrient issues haven't been at the forefront. And so, we're looking at how we can expand the program across the state and be more impactful there.
Always room for improvement, always room for growth. For those listening and watching right now that may be part of a retailer that isn't part of the 4R program, how can they find out more about the 4R program, and how can they get those retailers to get involved?
So you can go to 4rcertified.org and you can see the list of all of our certified facilities, and a couple things there. So if you are working with a retailer that is certified, make sure that you acknowledge that and thank them. That's one thing that we have heard over the last couple of years is, we just don't hear our customers appreciating that we are going through this process. So make sure you thank your retailer for going through the 4R certification, because it's not necessarily easy to do that. And then if you are working with a facility that isn't 4R certified, have a conversation with them and ask them why, and maybe, push them to consider getting certified. I'm here to help. This isn't a program that, we're looking to get anybody in trouble. This is a program that we're looking to put agriculture's best foot forward and to showcase to the community that, hey, ag retail farmers are doing the best practices that we know, given the science that's before us right now. So that'd be my message to them.
It was one of the biggest first steps in water quality efforts in Ohio 10 years ago, and those efforts continue not just with the ag retailers, but with the farmers all over the state through H2 Ohio and the 4R Nutrient Stewardship Certification Program. Their executive director, Aaron Heiler, is joining us on the podcast. Always great to see you, friend. Thanks for the info.
Thanks, Ty.